Food is integral to our human experience, as nourishment, to express heritage and identity, or simply to bring people together. Let's take a bite out of two tasty books, Pizza from Scratch by David Esslemont and Funeral Food by Sandra Trujillo, that examine labor, culture, and community while celebrating our relationship with food. Originally from England, David Esslemont is an artist, designer, printmaker, and bookbinder who has been publishing since 1978. He established Solmentes Press in 2002, where he creates books on subjects ranging from bibliography to poetry. Pizza from Scratch is a visual narrative of Esslemont's farm-to-table journey, growing ingredients, building an oven, and making pizza all on his own farm. The book begins with a quiet detail of weeds, followed by a dramatic print depicting a field burning in preparation for planting new crops. A self-described obsessive about food and cooking, Esslemont values growing his own food for many reasons, including controlling for the allergies of a family member and for the incomparable flavor and multisensory delights of eating fresh food. After moving to Iowa and learning about the pizza farms in Midwestern states, he was inspired to create his own. Pizza from Scratch combines different visual storytelling techniques. As in cinematography and comics, time passes between frames, and the perspective moves between wide and detailed angles. With almost no words in the book, he shows instead of tells us. As the week grows, Esslemont's narrative turns toward constructing the pizza oven. Here are the tools we need, and the Pythagorean theorem used to make a right angle when laying out the foundation. Esslemont periodically includes himself in the book. Accomplishment radiates from his smile and body language. The snapshot feel of the image lends the book the air of a visual journal as much as an instructive narrative. Pizza from Scratch honors the labor, process, and time it takes to grow fresh organic ingredients and build equipment from the ground up. Esslemont's celebration and respect for labor are obvious in this visual narrative, but also evident in the skilled and time-consuming processes to publish this book. He carved every wood and linoleum block for Pizza from Scratch, many of which combine complicated multiple block reduction prints. Each layer of color was printed on his Ostrander Seymour extra heavy iron hand press. As we follow the process of planting and building the oven, Pizza from Scratch subtly distinguishes between agrarian and industrial scales. Large commercial operations separate each step, often across different companies or subcontractors. Esslemont, by contrast, does all of the work and, as a result, has total control. I don't know the details behind every step of the process depicted, but I recognize the labor and his commitment to traditional methods. Esslemont told me that he used to work as an archaeological draftsman and that he grew up around his architect father's blueprints. These experiences come into his visual storytelling. He includes schematics and other details, such as the insulation symbol on this page, where he adds insulation to the nearly finished oven. Esslemont even printed plans for readers to make their own pizza oven. Tucked into a pocket in the front of the box, the blueprint invites us to go beyond just reading and begin making pizza. With the oven built, the narrative turns to the harvest. Esslemont told me, "There's a delight in watching wheat growing." We have a moment again to enjoy his accomplishments with him before returning to the work at hand. These ripe tomatoes and fresh basil make my mouth water. The images bleed off the page, suggesting great abundance. With the ingredients and the wood for the oven gathered, It's finally pizza day. The form of the visual narrative shifts closer to the step-by-step instructions of a recipe, with small time notations marking the whole day affair. We make the pizza dough and the mozzarella. Esslemont gradually increases his use of color as the fire grows and the tomato sauce cooks. It's nearly time. After these skilled hands assemble and cook the pizza, I note that after many, many months of labor, a pizza needs but 3 minutes in the oven. At last, a beautiful, mouth-watering tomato, basil, and mozzarella pizza is ready to eat. Buon appetito! Based in Georgia, artist and educator Sandra Trujillo works across media including printmaking, drawing, and ceramics. Her works reflect the trials and cultural joys of the human experience, as well as stories that stress the act of reclamation and strengthening connection between people. Funeral Food is a collection of stories drawn from Trujillo's memories of the thrifty economies within 1970s California Chicano culture and the community of good cooks that surrounded her. The stories are organized around her father's funeral. The black fabric tie references black cotton ribbons that mourners commonly wear around their arms. Each story centers on a particular person and food. The first one recounts her elementary school teacher, Mrs. Fong, who brought rice and kimchi to their house the day before her father's funeral. Trujillo describes a dedicated and caring educator whose compassion for her students extends beyond the classroom. I love that she closes this recollection with an acknowledgement that funeral foods can be spicy. On the other side of the narratives are large risograph prints that name and illustrate each food. Trujillo's stories are meandering memories, written in a conversational and occasionally humorous tone. The foods are departure points from which she describes the many people of her childhood and aspects of her neighborhood. Mr. Jaramillo's ham sandwiches lead to the question of taking Spanish or woodshop in middle school, how much formal Spanish many of the kids learned at home, and what students actually make in woodshop. Trujillo often includes directions to make the food, emphasizing what it is that makes the dish so good. Not all of the food items were at the funeral, but Trujillo expresses the importance of food as a connection for family, friends, and community. The colorful riso prints offer a welcome contrast to the formal columns of letterpress printed text. They add softness and variety to the rhythm of the book. Funeral Food was published in close collaboration with Impronta Casa Editoria in Guadalajara, Mexico. All of the text was cast on their Intertype machine, a hot metal typecaster similar to the Linotype, and printed in-house. The bold column of text on each oversized page demands our attention. Tightly set in the geometric Futura typeface, it's a straightforward layout that is formal and funereal, but works equally well with the informal tone of Trujillo's writing. Trujillo developed the images in papier-collé, flat collages made exclusively of paper. At Impronta Casa Editoria, her original illustrations were translated into toned riso prints for the final edition. The hand-cut style of the lettering and illustrations, printed in the soft, velvety texture of the riso prints, bring playfulness in Trujillo's hand into the book. Trujillo's stories connect each food with the economics of her childhood. Following a quick sentence about not eating all of Edna's cherry cake at the funeral, an explanation of why the cake was so good leads to the recollection that everyone worked at Erickson's ranch in the summer to make extra money. Despite limited money and food, Trujillo forms a picture of a family and community that took care of each other. There is pride and joy in sharing what they did have. About halfway through the book, the rhythm of the pages suddenly changes. Eschewing the column of text, Trujillo's illustrations name the food and offer basic instructions on the back. When I asked Trujillo about these pages, she compared them to a theatrical Greek chorus that might speak directly to the audience, express a character's inner thoughts, or provide commentary on the action. This crunch on the back of Shirley's tostadas is a prime example of Trujillo's efforts to elevate the multisensory nature of eating and brings the reader closer to the experience. Like all of Trujillo's memories, drinking punch on the grassy traffic median is a conduit to describe aspects of her childhood. In this case, the sense of abundance, despite living near the line of poverty. Their neighborhood had everything. Their house was close to everything. And after the funeral, the neighborhood kids came to her house, and her mother made sure everyone ate. I was curious about this page, which is quite distinct from the others. Trujillo told me that the idea was to present a punch stain bleeding through the paper. It's as though the drink spilled on the book itself, a facsimile moment that collapses the distance between the reader and Trujillo's memories. Toward the end, Trujillo writes about cooking bologna on a simple buddy burner hot plate, which she learned in Girl Scouts. She compares the superiority of thin, deli-cut slices to the thick, home-cut slices she could cut from the bologna log in their fridge. I love that the following Greek chorus-style insert emphasizes how simple the bologna is to make and preemptively insists that it's better than you think. Trujillo skillfully combines her adult and childhood perspectives throughout Funeral Food. In the final story about school lunches, significant details like free meals provided by the Black Panthers' social programs provide historical context, yet we are always close to her childhood point of view, such as touring a nearby dairy to learn about milk, but mostly learning that cows are smelly. The book closes with a recipe for the plum jam that went into their peanut butter jam and tortilla sandwiches, and a final note of thrift and abundance. Mom made all of the jam during the summer, and there was plenty of it. Funeral Food is a personal and welcoming book. While reading, I feel as though I'm sitting with Trujillo at a table, listening as she recounts the hardships, generosity, rich cultures, and caring people of her childhood, before she notices that my plate is empty and offers to refill it with more delicious food. Pizza from Scratch and Funeral Food invite us into each artist's stories about resources and labor, family and community, and most of all, the delights and opportunities offered by the things we eat.